Hi, welcome to the Dairy Hour podcast, where rural charm meets personal growth. Join us as we milk every moment for wisdom, self-improvement, and mental wellness. I'm your host, Val Lavigne, a rural dairy farming mom with a passion for filling hearts while never forgetting to fill my own cup. Get ready for insightful conversations, empowering tips, and a splash of fun and laughs, of course. Let's cultivate growth, nourish our minds, and embrace the journey together. This is the Dairy Hour podcast, where every episode is a breath of fresh air and the inspiration you need to be your best self. Hey Dairy Hour listeners, if you're enjoying this show, leaving a review is the best way to help us grow and reach more people. Plus, I've got a little thank you for you. Snap a screenshot of your review, message it to me at DairyGalVal, and I will be sure to send some fun Dairy Hour stickers your way. Thanks for supporting the podcast, and I cannot wait to mail you some swag. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Dairy Hour podcast. I am your host, Val Lavigne, and I am here with the one and only Dairy Doc. How are you, Michelle?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Chilly. And you were bragging earlier about how it's 75 and sunny where you are.
It is.
Must be nice. It's winter here now in the Northeast, and I'm not thrilled about it. And you are in
Arizona.
I was gonna guess Arizona, and they're like, New Mexico? No, it's Arizona.
Arizona. We don't know what winter is.
Well, if you go north, you do get a little bit of winter, right?
Yeah. You can drive up into the mountains, and there's some good snow.
Good snow. Is that such a thing? Good snow.
When you don't live in it, it is.
Yeah, I guess if you're actively seeking it out, it's okay. But
yeah,
it's not my thing. And I mean, just back in October was my first time ever going to Arizona, so that was exciting. So
did you go for the National Milk?
I did.
Yeah, that's cool.
I did. So Michelle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Michelle Schack. I am a veterinarian for dairy cattle. I have been a vet for almost 10 years now, which is crazy to think about. And I'm from San Francisco area, and I didn't grow up in agriculture. I got involved in college in agriculture. I explored a lot around that and went to vet school at UC Davis. I loved UC Davis. It was a great school. After I graduated vet school, I came out here to Arizona, and I've been here ever since. I am now, not only am a dairy vet, but I also co-own a dairy education company for dairy employees and dairy farmers. And then I'm also on social media as a dairy doc on a couple different channels. And I'm a wife and a mom and do all the things.
Awesome. So let's back it up. You already kind of briefly touched on it. You grew up in San Francisco, so tell me a little bit about what was life like growing up for you?
I had a very good childhood. I got to do a lot of different things. I lived in a really beautiful area in the suburbs of San Francisco. The weather was really nice year round. We could get to the beach in an hour. We could get to the snow in 2 hours. We could get to the mountains. We could get to the woods. And, California is so beautiful. It's really rich and diverse in terms of landscapes and places you can go and visit. And that was really awesome.
So what did your parents do?
My mom was a respiratory therapist. And so she worked at a hospital. She worked night shift at the hospital a couple of days a week and then stayed home with us. And my dad was an HR director at a big company.
So just a standard suburban family.
Yes.
Were you involved in any activities as a kid? What was your go-to hobby?
When I was in second grade, my sister and I started raising guide dogs for the blind.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. There's a school in San Rafael, which is about an hour and a half from where I grew up. We had a little local club in our area with multiple kids raising guide dogs for the blind. So we would get them when they were 8 weeks old and raise them until they were just around a year. We raised 9 dogs. And then I went to college and we stopped raising dogs for a little while. And then my mom and sister started raising dogs again. And then my sister moved and then my mom started raising dogs by herself. We just because we had done it so long, we just really love working with the organization. It's a really great way to give back. And it's really good experience. It's a lot of fun working with the different puppies. My sister now works for Guide Dogs for the Blind in their breeding department.
That's awesome. And so what does it entail? Like, I mean, I've, seen that people do this, but what kind of commitment is it on your part, as far as training?
It's a big commitment. It was good because my mom was home. So while we were little, we didn't bring the dogs to school. The dogs were home with my mom during the day. And then when we came home, they were our dogs, my sister and I. So it was our responsibility to feed them, take care of them, do the trainings. We had to go to weekly meetings where we worked with a training leader, working on specific tasks and making sure that the animals were getting what they needed. But really the bigger overarching goals was they were learning obedience, like basic obedience training, and then socialization. Those were our big goals. And then once they went back to the school, then they had professional trainers that took over and actually taught them how to lead the blind people. Yeah. Didn't do that part.
Yeah. Man, why did you run into the wall? Well, my dog was trained by a second grader.
Yeah.
Hang on going.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, we got them one at a time. We didn't get to name them, so they came with their names. But we'd keep them for just around a year, and then they'd go back and they'd get professionally trained. And then some of them went on to become guides. Not all of them do. It's only about a 1 in 4 pass rate. Wow. Yeah, so they didn't all become guides, but when they did, there was a big graduation ceremony. We got to meet the blind people that they were going to work with, and it was really, really special.
That's awesome. What a great experience to have as a kid.
Yeah, I loved animals, and my sister loved animals too. We both did. I was really into kind of more science and math. And so I always thought I wanted to be a vet, but that was a really awesome way to get to work with animals in kind of a more official capacity rather than just having vets at home. It was like a job. We had tasks that we had to complete. We had to show up to meetings and we got homework and we really had to work. And that was a really great experience for me because it really combined the things that I loved and it got us out and talking to people too. That was a lot of where I first started. We would have to present at the county fair and we'd have to, we did a lot of outreach too about Guide Dogs for the Blind and just raising awareness. And that I really liked that part as well.
That's awesome. What a great experience as a kid. I can't stress just having your kids involved in something as a child where they can put all that effort into it, learn how to interact and do something that gives back to the community around you. It's so important to do stuff like that. I know 4-H does a lot of that. FFA does a lot of that. And that's just your way of doing that, but just in a way that you don't normally hear about all the time. So.
Yeah, it's funny because I tried to join 4-H and I went to my local 4-H meeting and they were all just crafting and quilting. So there were no animals. Nobody had animals in my area. I mean, there was some that I could have driven to, but it was a long drive to get over there because just in my area it was so urban. I mean, it was just suburbs, but it was just really, there was a lot of people in a small amount of area. Nobody had land to put animals on in my town. And so this was a really cool way that I was able to really get involved in animals and, like you said, give back.
That's awesome. And you said you kind of wanted to be a vet when you were a kid, but I bet you probably didn't think you were going to be a cow vet, did you?
No. I don't even know if
go card.
Yeah, I don't think I even realized cows had vets, when I think back on it. But I just wanted to be a vet and I just had it in my head that I was going to be a vet like a lot of little kids do, right?
Me.
Yeah. But I loved math and science and I loved animals and I loved figuring out how things worked. So that was what I was going to do. I was going to be a vet. And then when I went to college, I shadowed a small animal vet and I hated it. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I don't like this at all. And what? So,
and they were like, but wait, there's cows.
Well, yeah. they said, well, you're an animal science major because that's how you be pre-vet at UC Davis. So they said, you're an animal science major, so you have to take Animal Science 1. Animal Science 1, they taught us all the different types of production animals and horses, and we talked about dogs and cats. I mean, it was just like all different species. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's a whole new world out there. So I started trying all other things. I worked with sea lions. I worked at a zoo.
That was a missed opportunity right there.
Like a
Sea lion vet.
Yeah.
It goes from raising seeing eye dogs to veterinarian for sea lions. I like it. We got to change this whole thing around. Okay.
I say I don't want to smell fish all day, but now I just smell cow poop all day. So I don't know what's better.
Cow poop is definitely better.
Yes, agreed.
So at what point did you what year in college were you like, I think cows are the way to go?
It was during my first year, I was really loving the cows. And I did, like I said, a lot of different things with a lot of different animals that year. And I was loving the cows. And then that summer, spent the whole summer at a zoo. I moved into this little intern house, and I was the intern at the zoo, and I worked with the vet, and I worked with keepers. And that was an awesome opportunity.
That is
all these different animals.
I need some zoo stories here. Help a girl out. What's your craziest thing that happened at the zoo that you had to do? I am a huge Secrets of the Zoo fan. Okay. I'm all into all those zoo shows. I'm here for it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you would love this place because I lived at the zoo. I could go in after hours and walk around because I was just at the zoo. And that was awesome. We trained the bears with peanut butter on a spoon to stand up so we could give them little vet inspections, and they just lick the peanut butter off the spoon. It's really funny. We had we had a brown bear and a black bear. And then we had a cougar that had nasal cancer. And so we had to sedate the cougar or put it under anesthesia so that we could do a scope of its nose. That was really interesting. We had a caribou with a big mass on its face. So we had to remove. That was pretty cool.
There's a lot going on in the summer. How big is this zoo?
It's a small zoo, but it's just really, I think there's a lot going on all the time at all zoos. We just don't realize it.
For sure. That's awesome. So you say about the bears and doing things. I don't know what I did that got the old Facebook algorithm is into bears right now.
That's funny.
What I did to instigate it to be all about bears. But I mean, there's all these bears doing things on my Facebook, and I'm just here for it. All the reels, I go down the rabbit hole, and I'm watching videos of them doing things. And one that
so funny
that it caught, it was batting it around like a cat. It was,
my gosh,
I don't know where these videos come from, but they found me. And
they found you. Yeah, but
they're born every minute, and
then you watch it, and then they show you another one, then you watch that. And then they think that's what she wants to see.
Just bears everywhere. And now that I'm talking about this, guess what I'm seeing when I look on my phone next? More bears.
It's listening. It knows.
Oh my gosh. So what's your favorite, so if you had to pick one favorite zoo animal?
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what I was getting to is when I was at this zoo, my favorite animal at the zoo were the elk, which really are just giant cows. But then I don't really like working with birds, and I don't really like working with reptiles, and I don't really like working with sea animals. And then I was like, oh man, zoo medicine is not for me. You can't be picky. If you're going to work at a zoo, I can't work at the zoo and only work on the elk and the cougars. That they won't let me do that. So
I want to train the bears, work on the elk, and take care of the cougars. Other than that, the rest of the animals can go.
Yes. So I realized very quickly that zoo medicine is not for me. It's also a lot of extra schooling.
Because it's so many different species.
Yes. And so I realized that was not for me. And really, I really like the elk, and they're just giant cows. So I'm going to go back to the cows. So then I went back to the cows. So it was very quickly that cows became my favorite animals. But then during my second year, I got, at the end of my second year for third and fourth year of undergrad, I got a job as the herd manager of the swine facility. So
that's interesting. That's a good experience.
Yeah, I lived at the pig barn, and then I was.
Could you walk in the pig barn all hours of the night?
Yes. All hours. I had to, because I had to go check on the animals, and I was like there in my pajamas pulling pigs, and it was very smelly all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. But that was cool. So I got a little soft spot in my heart for pigs.
That's a great experience. And for someone to get, that swine production experience is also huge, especially like in my neck of the woods, there's no, large swine operations.
Yeah, that's how it was in California too. There's not a lot of swine, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I got this job, and then I kind of loved it. We had about 300 pigs there at the
that's
swine.
not even that big then.
No, but it was like a real production facility where we were actually selling the animals and breeding them, and we're doing all the things just kind of on a small scale because it's a teaching facility. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, pigs, they're cute when they're little. They're tasty when they're done. In between, I have no love for them because when I was a kid, we had 2 pigs and I, creatively named them. It was Lucky and Charm.
Okay, that is very cute.
And Charm bit me. And
no.
And now all pigs are bad. All of them. Pigs. I don't trust them, those beady little eyes.
Didn't have named it Charm. That was your mistake number 1.
Yeah, nope. Charm ruined it for all pigs for me because now my daughter has like a thing for pigs and she's like, I really want to get a pig. I really want to get a pig. And I'm like, I ain't dealing with that thing. Get it out of here.
No, bite you.
Nope. One. Not going to bite me again. So that's how
Yeah. I kind of love pigs. And then in vet school, I really explored a lot of different, I knew I wanted to go into production animal medicine when I went to vet school, but then during vet school, I was like, well, what about this other, like there's all these different types. And so I went to Iowa and I did a pig rotation in Iowa and I tried a lot of different things with different types of animals. And I didn't choose dairy until my 4th year actually of vet school.
Okay. You just had that underlying love of cows.
I do. And I wanted to be 100% sure. I didn't want to question, well, what if I was a swine vet, So I really went and I got those experiences, which was really good for me. And I came back still loving pigs, but also like, well, I think because a lot of it also is about lifestyle. I mean, farming too, it's about lifestyle. It's more than just the animals themselves.
Yeah.
But like, how's your facility set up and what are your hours and things like that? What are your daily tasks? Those types of things. And for dairy, my favorite thing about dairy, next to the cows, of course, is that I get to work with the people so regularly. I really love the people that I work with, and we get really good follow-up. And in a lot of other systems, you don't get as regular follow-up. I mean, think about even like your dog, you see your vet once a year, if that.
Yeah.
But
hopefully that's the plan.
Right. Right. That's what we hope. I encourage that. But with dairy cows specifically, I mean, I'm seeing my clients every other week or once a month or sometimes once a week, really. And so I get like a high level of involvement, and that's really cool. I love that.
As a busy mom and dairy farmer, I'm always looking for ways to support my family's health as well as my own, and I absolutely love Wonder Cow Colostrum. It's packed with essential nutrients, great for supporting gut health, boosts immunity, and promotes overall wellness. Whether it's for me, my kids, or anyone looking to stay strong and healthy, Wonder Cow is my go-to daily supplement. I have been taking it for a year now, and it is irreplaceable in my daily routine. If you want to experience the amazing benefits of colostrum too, you can use my special code, DairyGalVal, at checkout for a discount. Give Wonder Cow a try, and you will definitely feel the difference.
That's awesome. Now, what did your family think of this when you're like, so here's the thing, think cows?
Yeah, they thought I was crazy, but they thought it was really cool. They were just like, what? And then they would come and they'd visit me and they'd come. I had to give everybody I knew a tour of the pig barn because they'd come and come pick me up, and that's where I live. So then everybody wanted to hold a baby pig, and that was pretty cool. They had a lot of questions, and that was really my first exposure to answering questions. And they were kind of the same questions that I had, but I had been like slowly introduced to it and learning in a classroom type setting, whereas now people are just walking in and they're like, what kind of milk should I buy? And, that it was good for me because I really was able to relate to them, but also I had the knowledge to help answer their questions or at least find out the answer to their questions.
Yep. So you made it through vet school.
Did.
House.
I survived.
I survived. Thank God. Yes. So
a t-shirt and everything.
It's not official unless you have a t-shirt.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
I agree. Yep. So then you said you moved right to Arizona?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get a job? Did you how did you end up in Arizona?
I joined a dairy practice here that had 8 veterinarians at the time. So I was number 9. It was a pretty big practice and I got a lot of really great mentors out of that.
Yeah.
And so it was a good choice for me in terms of career. I'm still with that practice now in terms of career, it was a good choice for me. And also I really like Arizona. I think it's really beautiful. My husband was really supportive. He was able to transfer in his job out here to Phoenix, and that was really good. And so it was just good in a lot of ways. And I feel that I was really, really lucky to have found such a good situation right away.
Awesome. And where did your husband come into the story?
I met him in undergrad, my first year of undergrad. So we've known each other for a long time.
And what was his, what's his track of learning?
He went to UC Davis also. So we met at college. And then he was an environmental scientist when he graduated for a big consulting firm. And he worked a lot for the Department of Defense, doing a lot of environmental consulting, helping them comply with EPA regulations, things like that. Like hazardous waste and stuff. Yeah. And he did that for a lot of years. And then we had my son, and then we had my daughter. And when we had my daughter, he decided to quit his job and go back to school and get his master's for teaching. And now he's a 7th grade science teacher. Old job had a lot of travel involved, and it was just really hard with the kids. Yep. So he works in the school district, and so he's on their school schedule. So he's home with them during breaks and stuff, which is really nice.
That's really good, especially when you're a vet and you can't really have the school break schedule.
Yeah, my schedule is kind of all over the place, so it's nice to have someone with a regular schedule.
As a dairy farmer, I understand the schedule being all over the place.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you are obviously a dairy cattle veterinarian, and then you do some other stuff on the side. So if you want to kind of dive into some of those and how they came about.
Yeah. Do you remember the Fair Oaks animal abuse video that came out?
Sure do.
Yeah. So when that came out, my practice was doing a lot of training on our clients' farms, and we had videos, and we were doing in-person training, and we were doing some video training, and we were doing a lot of things like that. And that was really good, but it's really hard to keep up with the turnover of labor on farms. And that video really focused on training. In the video, they alleged that they did not receive proper training. And that was a big part of what they were trying to get across, was that they were not told what to do, or were told to do the wrong thing. And I am not in that situation. I was not a part of that. But we saw that, and we took that to realize, you know what? We needed to do a better job of documenting our training. All farms are doing training, and most farms are doing a really good job, and they're able to document, but there are gaps. Sometimes we don't document it really well, even though we did the training. And sometimes we can't get the training done that fast, just practically. I'm the vet, so I schedule a training. Well, okay, I'll schedule the training for next week. So maybe now someone's been here for a whole week without training before they get the training, and then they get the training, and then they quit the next day, and then we hire someone new. And it's yes. And it's really, really challenging. And we felt okay, how can we help the industry? How can we help our clients? How can we help the industry make this more practical and have more accountability and able to verify these trainings that are happening? So we created DairyKind, which is an online educational program that has training modules within it. Everyone has a unique username and login, and they're able to access that training at any time. So let's say it's 2 a.m. and your milking technician didn't show up, and now you got to pull the guy that was supposed to be just in the office or whatever he was supposed to be feeding, and you pulled him out and can you please milk, because this other guy didn't show up, but that guy's never milked before. Well, now you can sit him down and have him watch 10 minutes of videos before he starts a shift. And that gives him a really good basis of, okay, we're going to build on this. Now, you still need to follow up with that in-person training with your consultants, your veterinarians. I mean, all of that training should still occur, but it just gives everyone that even playing field to start with and gives them the chance to do a good job, because a lot of mistakes that happen on the farm is just people didn't know, or they didn't understand why it was important or something like that. So we created this online educational platform, and it helping farmers train their employees and then document and track that training.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's just a thing that arose from a need that you guys saw out in the industry. And I'm guessing it's available in English and Spanish.
Yeah. So anyone can check it out at DairyKind.com, but it's all, we have some course previews there, and it kind of goes through what we offer. But yeah, everything's in English and Spanish, and we're in 10 states across the country now, and it's all online. So you can access it from anywhere, from mobile devices. And that's been really helpful for a lot of people. It also is, interestingly, then grown and being used by co-ops and retailers and brands as well, for brand protection and risk mitigation. Because
that's awesome.
To be honest, like, nobody wants any cows to be abused. Like, there is zero tolerance for animal abuse, but we have a hard time sometimes documenting that. And so this is allowing people to make that simpler, and it's making people's manager or the owner on the farm, it's making their lives easier in terms of training, documenting that training. And then when an audit comes around, because a lot of people don't realize how many welfare audits and evaluations dairy farms have to go through, but it's quite extensive, and all of them require training. And so to being able to just log in online and pull up a quick report of, hey, these are my employees and what they've been trained on, that's huge.
Good. And you also share online your own story. So when did that start?
After we started DairyKind, I was just really excited about what we were doing. And I felt like the farmers that we work with are really amazing, and they're doing a lot, and they're trying their best to make sure that their animals are cared for, and the milk is safe, and the people are treated well, and all of these things. And I just hear so many things from the general public that just doesn't know all of these things that the farmers are doing. And there is, as a veterinarian, we hold a place of public trust, and we have like kind of a third party view on things. And so while I love that there's a lot of really great farmers sharing out what they're doing, I felt like, you know what, I think I can lend a different perspective to the conversation. And I think if we have a lot of different perspectives in on this conversation, it's only going to make our point stronger and help us reach more people. So like, if you go on and you say, this is something I do to care for my cow, and then I can back you up. Like, I'm a veterinarian, and that's great what she's doing. And so like, we can build on each other, right? And share our stories, get stronger by when we work together. So I started Dairy Doc in 2021. And I started on TikTok because I felt like that was just sort of maybe a good place, because I can take a lot of videos. That's easier for me than doing a lot of writing, because I can just snap videos kind of in my downtime when I'm on the farms. So I started there because it was video based, which is interesting now because Instagram, the reels have grown so much and they're really similar to. So now in 2023, I started an Instagram where I just repost my TikToks to the Instagram. So it reaches a different audience, but the reels are so big now that I'm having some success there as well. But that's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you run into trouble with, different farms that are like, I don't really want you recording here, or,
Yeah, some farms are super excited and they're like, tag me in your post. And then some farms are like, yeah, sure, whatever. And a lot of farms are really good about like, oh, we love what you're doing for the industry. Go ahead. Thank you for doing this. I don't have time to do this. I love that someone's doing it. A lot of farms some farms don't want me recording at all, and that's okay. And some farms are like, sure, take what you want. I just don't have my name in it, and that's okay too. So it's a little bit different for every farm. And I try to keep it somewhat anonymous because they're not my cows. But I think that most people have been really supportive of kind of my mission and what I'm trying to do. And a lot of farmers, they love this idea, but they just don't have the time or the energy to do it themselves. So they're usually happy to support someone else doing it.
Awesome. And my vet, so you talk about TikTok. A year and a half ago, maybe close to 2 years now ago, I had a video go viral on TikTok with my vet in it.
Fun.
And we were rolling a DA cow, a displaced abomasum cow. For those that are listening that don't know what that is, one of her stomach compartments was not where it belonged. And sometimes you can trick them back in by rolling them. So it was cool because it always, and even, being around the cows all the time, it just fascinates me how with just a simple series of ropes, you can like take a 1,200. I mean, she's a big girl. And you can like just easily bring her to the ground, roll her up on her back. And it went crazy on TikTok. And
so cool.
So my vet he thinks it's funny. And how is our famous cow? And she's still in the barn, Queenie. She's one of my like main characters in my social media because she's one of the favorites around here. But he'll always just be like, and how is my infamous girl today?
That's so funny.
So it's funny. And it's funny what goes crazy and what doesn't, because nothing frustrates me more than those videos that you put so much work into. You're like, this is awesome. People are going to love it. And it flops. And then you're like, I don't know what to post today. I'm just going to post something dumb. And then people are like, oh my God, this ever. And you're like, okay, like, sure.
Yeah. It's so unpredictable. That's why you just keep going. You never know. Some of them really make it big and some of them don't. And there's really, you don't have any control over it, but you're reaching some people with every one. So I think it's worth it to keep going.
Every little bit counts. And, even as your following grows and people can go back and watch the old stuff if they so choose. So it's there. But that's, I was telling you, I was kind of in a slump the last couple weeks, and I just kind of like reworked an old video and just threw it up. Like, I haven't posted a reel in a while. I don't feel like recording anything, revamped something, sent it out there. And then it went crazy on Facebook. And I'm like,
oh, that's fun.
Like, whatever. This video didn't do that well when I posted it before. I just kind of revamped it a touch and threw it up there on a whim. And people
never know.
Crazy. And I was like, okay, take it away, guys. Like, sure. So awesome. So what do you do in your spare time?
I know.
Wait, what is that?
What spare time? What I do a lot with my kids, my family, and my kids. My kids are 4 and 8 now, so they're getting to that age where they seem to have endless activities and birthday parties and school events, and oh my gosh! And so I would say that takes up a lot of my spare time. But I love that stuff. My son is playing baseball, and I played softball growing up, so I'm really into that. I love seeing that. My daughter just took her first horse class, and she's loved it. And I kind of love horses, so that was really fun for me too. So it's fun. I do a lot of family time.
Good. I too am a horse girl, so here we are.
Yeah. We'll see if she becomes a horse girl. Maybe.
Well, you want her to become an animal loving girl that rides horses.
Okay.
You got that stigma of horse girl. You got to be careful,
Okay. How do I do that? So is there a direction manual?
No, there's not. No, it's just like the ever going around joke of horse people are snobs. So I am like a girl who loves cows that also loves horses. Like,
okay. That's all we're category. Yeah.
No, it's amazing. And it's so good for kids, especially to learn, about taking care of an animal, especially that large, and get that responsibility and take instruction from someone and do all those things. I mean, after all that happened to me as a kid with horses, I should not have continued to love horses. I have taken hours and hours upon hours of riding lessons and instructional hours and things like that. So I'd say it turns you into an all right person.
Okay, that's good.
No, it's good. It's amazing. And it's good for her to be getting out and doing something different and fun. So
yeah.
And then you could always go with her and do mommy and me riding lessons.
I know. This sounds so fun. It's my dream.
I would love to do it. Yeah. Take advantage while you can.
Yeah.
So now at this point in the podcast, I love to get into some fun, just rapid fire questions, just to have fun and get to know you a little bit better. So Are you a beach or a mountain person?
Mountain.
See, growing up like close to the beach, I feel like beach was the way to go, but then you went the other way. It's amazing.
My husband grew up in Southern California, like 20 minutes from the beach. So he loves the beach because he used to go a lot. For me, it was always like a whole day trip because it was, probably an hour away, which really isn't that far. But, you know, when you're hauling kids and beach stuff and stuff, it was like a whole trip.
It seems forever.
Yes, it seems forever. Yeah. So we went to the beach a lot, but we also went to the mountains a lot. And yeah, I love the mountains. Being in the forest is so amazing.
Perfect. What is if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Boy, I guess maybe it would be fun to teleport. I drive a lot. And I mean, some of the farms I go to are like 3 hours away from me. And it just feels like, such a drag, such a waste of time when I spend 3 hours to drive there. And then I spend however long I spend there and then 3 hours back. And it's like, man, if I could just snap my fingers and be there, that'd be awesome.
Yes. Teleporting would be so cool.
I will also take a self-driving car one day when that happens so I can like nap in the back. That would be pretty amazing.
They have them in Phoenix.
I know, but like you get it like an Uber. I'm not paying for an Uber to take me 3 hours.
You want your own self-driving car.
Yeah. That's what
those things are so bizarre because like in upstate New York, we don't have any self-driving cars. And in Phoenix was when I was there.
There's a lot.
A month and a half ago. It was the first time I've ever seen one. They were like Waymos or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it. I'm like, what is wrong with that car? Like this is my first view of them kind of thing. I'm like
spinning on the top.
Like, there's no one driving it. Oh my gosh. Okay. And so my mom was traveling to the meeting with me and we were like asking because I did not take one because I am not brave. So we were asking the Lyft driver if he'd ever been in one or, how they were to drive on the road with them. And he said he has ridden in one once around the block. He said, but they're funny because if something is different or something changes, he goes, they'll literally just stop in the middle of traffic and won't move until they know what's going on.
Oh, weird.
So, which I mean is better than them driving erratically things.
I guess. I know it is kind of bizarre, but like if you think about it, I mean, our grandkids, that's going to be just normal. Self-driving cars.
I'm
gonna happen.
I don't think I'm ready for this.
It is weird.
Your go-to TV show to binge. If you've actually got time, you're gonna binge. Yeah. What you going?
I guess it depends what I'm in the mood for. Sometimes I like those competition shows. Like when my daughter was born and I was home with her on maternity leave, I watched all the seasons of The Amazing Race, all of them. And I had never watched it before that, but it was like fun where I can kind of tune in and not watch. Right now, my husband and I are watching Shrinking on Apple TV. I think it's on Shrinking.
Okay. I don't think I've ever even heard of that.
Oh yeah. It's like kind of like, have you heard of Ted Lasso?
I've heard of it, but I don't know.
Okay. It kind of reminds me of Ted Lasso. It's like very uplifting but funny.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's
like uplifting and funny. That's good.
I like uplifting and funny. I also like really scary, really scary things, but less so in the TV shows or like mysteries. Those are fun. We watched, did you see Only Murders in the Building?
Nope. I stay right away from, nope. I would be.
It's funny. It's not scary. It's funny.
If it has the word murder in the title, I'm probably not watching it. Just throwing that out there.
That's funny.
I made the mistake which I didn't make the mistake of. I got myself into the Yellowstone bandwagon.
I haven't watched that yet. Is it good?
Oh my gosh. So coming from someone who I could watch Friends every day of my life for the rest of my life and be perfectly happy because it's just funny. It's uplift. I can just mindlessly watch it.
Yeah.
And even my books, I don't like anything that's got a lot of oomph to it. I just like to I'm usually trying to get away from stressful situations, not put myself into them. So
right. Okay. Good.
Of course, I'm into Yellowstone and it gets so intense at some points in time that I just my poor body just doesn't know what to do. And I just sit there and shake. It's very funny. And then a lot of times, you know, we'll watch it because it's on obviously in the evening. So we'll watch it before we go to bed when it comes out. And I'm just sitting there and I'm wide awake and I'm just like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm never going to sleep. But that's about as intense as I go. I'm not, intense is a lot for me. Scary, I don't do. The problem with scary is when I was a kid, I thought I was going to be, you know, the cool teenager and, you know, go see a horror movie. Yeah, it was a bad idea. I don't know why I ever had that idea.
I don't know.
Thinking that they need to be like something that they're not. It was not me. Stay away from that.
And then you watch this scary movie and a pig bit you, and now your life is what you thought it would be.
No, there's axe murderers behind me, the freaking pigs. I don't know. Yeah. No, and I'm not like scared of pigs. I just don't like them.
Yeah.
I just don't need to be
Childhood trauma. Yeah.
seriously. Like, come on. Your go-to are you a sweets or a savory person?
Sweets.
Sweets. What's your go-to dessert?
I really like cookies. Just like standard cookies. Yeah, I'm a baker. I love to bake, and so I really like. I mean, I like all desserts, pie, and I didn't used to like cheesecake, but I do now because my husband's family really likes it. So I've learned to like cheesecake. Obviously, everyone loves ice cream, but I could name all the desserts. I love all the desserts, but I love cookies.
Apologies to whoever's listening that's hungry because your stomach is now growling, and you're like,
Yeah.
So what's your what is
have
your cookie kind?
I mean, I like just chocolate chip. You can't go wrong with a good chocolate chip cookie. But I also like, you know, snickerdoodles, and I like oatmeal raisin. But we have what I was going to say. We have crumble cookies out here. Have you heard of crumble? Yeah.
So them, I have yet to have one.
They're very rich, so they're shareable. But they're fun because they come up with different flavors. They have like all sorts of random flavor cookies, and that's kind of fun.
That could be fun. Yeah. What is when you're driving on these long drives, are you, you know, like music, podcast, book on tape? What are you doing?
I've done all of those, but
audiobook. I don't know why I just said book on tape like it's 20 years ago. I don't know what just happened there. Sorry, audiobook.
I knew what you meant. I have done all of those, but I would say my go-to is podcasts.
What's your current podcast that you're like really digging?
Well, I like all of the dairy podcasts, though, like yours, and there's like a bunch of different dairy podcasts.
Right answer. You're so
That's
sweet.
right. That's right. Yeah, I try to listen to all the dairy podcasts because they're just a lot of fun. But I would say my podcast that I listen to regularly, like that's not a dairy podcast, is this podcast called Stuff You Should Know. And it's really just super random topics. They'll be like ketchup and the history of ketchup, and that's what it is. And then they're like, you know, the Civil War, and then they're like this random murder mystery that you've never heard of, and then you know, Nintendo, and it's just like all these random things. And it's kind of fun. It's fun.
I do like random stuff.
Yeah, I learn something every time, and it's just fun, and it's pretty light, and yeah, so it's just kind of
minus the murder mystery. Stay away from those.
Yes.
We'll skip those episodes.
Right.
Gosh. Let's see. I'm trying to find one that like applies more to you. What's the best gift you've ever been given? That's a tough one. Sorry.
My gosh.
Or like, do you have like a childhood memory of getting something that was like the best thing ever?
Well, now that's even harder because now my mom's going to listen. She's going to be like, well, why didn't you say this and this?
No, you're supposed to the gift of love, Mom. Love. There you go.
Well, my daughter was born December 1st. And so that was definitely an interesting holiday season for 4 years ago. So I guess I could say my kids, if I
Perfect. There you go. Skim right over it.
Yeah. Safe answer.
I love it. Oh my gosh. What's the least favorite thing about your job?
Probably the unpredictability of it. I like that I am my own boss, and so I can somewhat make my own schedule. Like if I need to take a day off, I can. And most of my clients are really, really understanding if I need to reschedule or something like that. But it is really unpredictable. Like I'm sort of on call all the time to be able to answer questions and be on the phone and things like that. I share call for emergencies with my partners, but on the days that I am on call, I mean, I could get called out whenever, anytime. And so that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a thing.
Yeah.
And I'll end it with hopefully an easier question for you. Sorry, I'm not trying to give you all the hard ones. They're just coming up. And I'm like, oh, that would be cool to know. So what is the coolest place you've ever traveled to?
Ooh, the coolest place I've ever traveled. Probably Germany, if I can give a broad answer. I spent 2 weeks in Germany with my cousin. Just the two of us traveled after college, and we just kind of traveled through Germany. We didn't really have a plan, but so we got to see a lot of really cool places. We would just get to a place and then we'd ask the waiter at the restaurant, where should we go next? And then we'd go there, and it was really, really fun. And we got to see the countryside, and there's castles everywhere. Every little tiny town had.
Were you in the south of Germany?
We were in all of Germany. We started in the north, and then we went down to the south, and we were in the countryside, we were in the cities, we were in kind of historic districts. We went to Berlin, and then we went to Munich, and we did a lot, and it was really, really fun. I thought Germany was just beautiful, and I loved the food.
Germany is, yes, the bratwurst everywhere is the best. Germany, so I have friends that live in Hamburg.
Okay, we went there.
Yeah. So, but it was really cool because I went in, oh my gosh, 2010. I went a while ago. But my Graham and I went over and we stayed with them, and our friend, she took the week off of work and traveled around Germany with us. It was
how fun.
So we took the train to Berlin for the day, and we went up north, and we actually drove into Denmark for the day.
Oh, so, cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Germany is awesome. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 would go again.
Yeah, me too. I loved it.
But yeah, they don't have a ton of good all the fancy castles are in the south, and we didn't make it down south, so I didn't get to see those. So that's next time I go to Germany, I'm also spending some time in the south because I'm on a castle kick.
Yeah, we went down to the south and we stayed with some family friends down there, and they live out in the country, and you walk through their tiny little town. There's sheep and horses and all these, it's just countryside. And then you keep walking, and then all of a sudden you're at a castle, and there's just a castle there, and everyone's like, oh yeah, this is the castle. And it's it's no big deal. There's this ancient castle. And then we went to their little town had a little summer festival that we went to, and nobody spoke any English, and we had the best time. I mean, I don't speak any German, and everybody, we were all just best friends at this summer fest, and it was super fun.
That's
People
great.
are really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. When I definitely agree. 10 out of 10 would go again.
Yeah.
So we're at the point in the podcast where I like to ask a question that was a more of a deep thought. Apparently stumped you on some of the rapid fires, but this is more of a deep thought question that was left by a previous guest. There we go. I can't talk today on the podcast. And your question is, what is one thing that has been super crucial to your success? So one quality about you that has been something to help you become such a successful person.
When I was little, I thought I was an animal person. I was like, oh, I'm going to be a vet because I'm an animal person. But it turns out I'm actually a people person. And I think that has been hugely impactful in my life and in my career, because there's no way that you're going to get across what you're trying to get across if you can't see things from the other person's point of view and be able to connect with that person. I think especially on social media, some of the people on there are saying really aggressive or kind of mean comments, but then it's very easy to want to jump back and say aggressive, mean things back to them. But if you come from a place of understanding, then you're going to have so much more impact. And then also being a people person has allowed me to collaborate with a lot of different people. Is why I like doing these podcasts, to get to know you a little better. And it's really cool to be able to connect with others and then collaborate with them on projects, and then be able to grow things in a way maybe that you didn't realize, having someone bring in a different perspective really just will grow you as a whole. And so that would be my answer. I'm a people person, and that has been surprisingly critical in my career as a veterinarian.
Yeah, because unfortunately, if the animals are in need of veterinary care, it's not the animals that call you. So
correct. Yes.
And relationship with the people.
Yeah. And that's a big thing in vet school that they talk about is you can't just be an animal person. You have to be able to work with people as well, because they're your key into what's going on with the animal. And that's like, even just looking at DairyKind as well the cows need to get cared for, and the farmers want the cows to be cared for. But if we can't communicate those messages properly to the people who are actually doing the work, the employees on the dairy, we have to be able to connect with them to help them, empower them to do the best that they can do. Because the ones that I know all want to do a really good job. They just may not know, or don't have the experience, or didn't understand something correctly. And if you can't connect with those people and be able to get your message across, then you're not going to have any success improving the welfare of the animals, because they're the ones taking care of the animals. So the people are really the key to everything else.
I love it. And you have some parting words for us. What is that motivational or inspirational quote that is something that just speaks to your soul and drives you to be the best you can be?
I chose a quote from Charles Dickens. It goes like this: "No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another." And I think that just really speaks to that we all need to lift each other up, that we need to understand where other people are coming from in order to communicate with them better and get our message across. Like, that goes for, you and I lifting each other up and helping share out our platforms to more people. That goes for speaking out to the public. Like, honestly, a lot of the people that are asking questions or don't understand agriculture, those are burdens on them. They're feeling guilty because they want milk or cheese or ice cream like everyone does, but they don't want the animals to be mistreated. And they're hearing this messaging that the animals are being mistreated. And can we use what we know, our knowledge and power, to help them lighten that burden, and not look at them as like, this is something that they're stupid because they don't know. No, look at them as like, this is a way that I can help them. And then that goes for the animals and the cows as well, and the workers on the farm. I mean, I just think that when we can all work together, that we all have a purpose. And when we work together and we lift each other up, then we're just going to go so much farther together.
Awesome. I love it. That worked. That wrapped in together beautifully. Look at that.
Thank you.
And where can people follow you and find you if they are looking?
You can look up DairyKind at DairyKind.com. You can follow me on the socials at DairyDoc. On TikTok, I'm DairyDoc. On Instagram, Dairy.doc. Facebook, DairyDoc. If you are interested in a speaker, I do speaking as well. I have a speaking website, michelleschack.com, and you're always welcome to reach out to me on any of those platforms, and I'm happy to answer questions in whatever realm you have questions about.
Awesome. And I will be sure to link those in the show notes so people can find them nice and easy. Michelle, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a blast chatting with you and getting to know you more, and I can't wait to chat with you again soon.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. Please do me a favor, share this podcast with a friend, and we will talk to you next week. Thank you.